Hey everyone, this is Rachel at Moonlight Library. Welcome to my channel. Today we're doing our May wrap-up. I haven't been here in over a week, which is weird, but my computer wasn't working. I filmed a video. I'll put it out next week, later this week, I don't know. But I'm back, so here we go. Or at least I hope my computer's working. I'm just kind of like hoping, yeah. Wishing and hoping. So we'll see. Let's talk about some books I read this month. I read 8 books, 4 novels, 5, that's not math. 4 graphic novels, 4 novels, all different types, mystery, memoir style, sci-fi-ish, horror, political? Yeah, okay. So let's get into it. We're going to start with the ones that I actually have possession of, and then we'll get into the ones that I don't have possession of. So, and they are not possessed, but maybe I am today. I feel like my voice is so low. Too Good to Be True by Carola Lovering. And wow, I picked the worst book first. Worst for the first. This was a 1-star book. This follows what it's about. Let's say what it's about. This follows 3 narrators, framed narrators, and that's kind of a theme today. A theme in 2 of them. Anyways, frame narrative. It is a mystery thriller. It is not very mysterious or thrilling, you know, when you're like, the fact that you're right, you know, I'm reliable, I can tell. Anywho, so person number 1, don't remember her name. Sky. Wow. Sky was, she was not a gem to follow. I feel like Carola Lovering, I'm so sorry if you like this book, but Sky is a character that has OCD. And the way she's written is like, let's take all the most stereotypical things about OCD and put it into a character. I felt like she wasn't unique. It was almost like the author had just picked up a DSM-5 or one article about someone with OCD and just wrote it. You know, like she just like kisses clocks at 11:11 and knocks on wood and knocks on door frames and counts, and I'm like, OCD is a real thing that actually people have, and it can be very like individualized to a person and the different things that are their OCD, not just like here is the, I just looked at a picture and I took what's the most common and that's it. Later I will talk about another character with OCD. Well, it's not a character, it's a memoir. And it's like, this is real, you know, this is a real thing. It just felt like I don't know if the mental health awareness was here. That's just how I felt. And then, little spoiler, not much of a spoiler. Her OCD, spoiler tag, 2 seconds. Her OCD is cured by love. What's that supposed to do for people? That's not how that works. What? Like, I'm sorry. Everyone with OCD, go fall in love and then you'll be cured, you know? And she's like, so like, no one will ever love me. I'm beautiful on the outside, but I'm so horrible on the inside because of my OCD. And I'm like, this does not make people feel good. This cannot possibly make people feel good. This is like, I don't know. It's just the way it's done. Like, obviously you can represent things well, and then you can represent things poorly, which is what she did. Anyways, so it's a frame, follows Sky, and then the guy that Sky starts seeing, who's much older than her, it's his diary, and then the guy's wife from like in the 90s when she was a teenager, and I don't know. And in the end, I was like, everything was predictable. I didn't like any of the characters. I didn't care about what was happening. I was just like, this is my first 1-star book of the year. I believe it was my first. First 1-star book of the year. There you go. I hated it. Am I going to keep it? Yes. Because we keep all books here. We love books. People books. Okay. Wow, I just set it on top of a trash can just so we know, because that's what that book was. Trash. Sorry if you liked it. This is A Burning by Megha Majumbar. And wow. Okay. So at first I was like, political fiction, but set in India. Okay, you know, learn more about politics in India. Very fascinating. A lot of stuff going on with that judicial system over there that's kind of corrupt and kind of scary, and just the difference. This was another frame narrative. I don't remember if I just said that follows this girl who everyone's like, she did a bombing on this train, but like, I don't know, all of their evidence is just very poor evidence. And then it follows this other girl named Lovely who wants to be an actress. So I can't remember what it's called, but Lovely is transgender, and she is an aspiring actress, and she is in these acting classes, and she is taught by Jeevan, the girl who bombed the train. But following Lovely, like, wow. I loved her storyline. It was wonderful. She is a part of this thing in India that's kind of like these blessed people that come to weddings and stuff and will like kiss babies basically and like tell fortunes, I think, sort of thing. And also this guy named P.T. Sir, it's not his actual name, but he's a teacher, and he goes down a weird path, and there are these interludes that are very like outside perspectives on different things outside of our three main characters. That there's this one that just kind of like punches you in the gut. I had such a good time reading this book. All of the characters were so fascinating, and whether I loved them or I hated them, I had a great time with each and every one of them, including side characters. Like, everyone felt so real, and like you were so part of it, and I felt like I learned so much about like a different side of Indian culture that I didn't know, or living in India that I didn't know, because I didn't know basically anything about the legal system, which I've read a good amount of books set in India, but this just felt so much different. Loved it. Okay. Ghost World. This is one of the graphic novels I read. This one is by Daniel Clowes. Very depressing book. Every time I picked it up, I felt horrible. It's like set into sections, and each section is kind of just like a conversation between these two girls that are growing up, coming of age, figuring out, like testing the waters of what they can and can't say, and what they think and what they can do. And most of it is just a conversation on how horrible you can be almost. But I gave it 2 stars because it was like at first a 1 because it just made me feel so gross. But, which I'm not saying a book shouldn't make you feel gross, but the way it made me felt was just like, I felt almost wrong reading it. Like it put me into a bad area. I felt like a bad mood. I was just completely void. No, I can't do this. And I guess it was impactful, and wow, look at those drawings. Like, I love the color. The choice of color here is gorgeous, but it's just not for me. But the ending was really good. I felt like that was an interesting point to touch upon in the end, where it was just like everything's kind of like a glimpse into a life, you know? Nothing's forever. Next book. Why did I say that like that? Fun Home, a family tragicomedy by Alison Bechdel. This was so good. A friend texted me and told me to read it, and I'd heard of it. Obviously, I've been meaning to pick it up for a long time, but whoa, 5-star read right away. I was so invested in it. It's a memoir about Alison Bechdel, she's the one who had OCD, and like as a child she had all of these things that she was going through and kind of figuring out the world, and like that there are just like certain things that she showed about herself that were just so interesting. Her life, so interesting. So primarily is a book about her father, though. Her father was closeted. He was a gay man, and he passed away under semi-suspicious circumstances where he might have taken his own life. So that is something, going into this, know that it's going to have some triggers in it that might affect people. But she is a lesbian who she kind of like was able, like she came out of the closet to her family, and it was soon after that her dad passed, and then she started to find more out about his life and who he was and everything, and kind of putting it together. And it is such a smart book. It is such an intelligent graphic novel. It's like I learned so much, and it made me want to read Proust. Like, when do you want to read Proust? I don't know. Does anyone? I mean, someone might. But like Swan's Way, I'm like, oh my god, I need to buy this. And then I was like, you already own it. Also, so she drew all of her own comics or her graphic novel, you know. And it's just like beautifully done. And her way with words and storytelling and coming back to certain moments over and over again in a way that it's like you're looking at it from different angles. Picturesque. Read it if you haven't. If you like memoirs, if you like graphic novels, great for Pride Month. Do it. Next up is a book that I cried the entire time that I read. Blankets by Craig Thompson. I literally could not stop crying during this book. It is massive. It's a graphic novel. It's beautiful. It's about this boy's coming of age story. It's also a memoir about Craig Thompson's coming of age and starting to question his faith in the Midwest. Well, faith and religion, but he's in the Midwest. And just seeing the way that like his process and thinking about religion and falling in love and relationships between people and his relationship with his brother and how that morphs and changes, because you're looking at it, it's all kind of like told with blankets in a way. Like most of the stories revolve around a blanket, and then most of the sections follow both him as a child with his brother and him as a young adult coming of age, and like most of it is his romance with this girl. And it just felt like I felt nostalgic for a life I never had. Does that make sense? I don't know. Oh, it was so good though. It was so good. I recommend it over and over again. Why am I holding it like this? It's like a blanket for me. The 5-star read. 5-star read. Next are the books that I don't have. So the first one is going to be Upright Women Wanted by Sarah Gailey. This one follows some woman, and she is a lesbian, and she joins it's like in this dystopian future where there are these like librarians that go around and they're kind of like the outlaws, you know, almost like Wild Westy, and she joins them, and it's pretty short. Did I like this book? Meh. I think I might have given it like 2 or 3 stars because it was just like okay. I can't say much more about it because I didn't feel anything about it. Like, I felt void about this book. It's like I read it and that was it, and then I was like, I'm now done with this book, and that's it. I don't need any more of this. Yes, I will probably never remember it. But I do want to read Magic for Liars by her and The Echo Wife. I'm still going to read her other books. I just don't think this one was for me. It happens. Next up is The Holo Places by Kingfisher. Oh, wow, that was a good book. It's a horror, and it's like Chronicles of Narnia meets Annihilation, kind of. Yes. So there's this woman, oh my gosh, and it's just like, it's also like it meets Gravity Falls, because she goes to, after her divorce, she goes to stay at her like someone in her family, I can't remember whose it was, her uncle or something, her grunkle Stan. Anyways, her uncle, I think, his like house of mystery sort of thing, and her and this guy she starts hanging out with find this portal to this land with all these like doors, and they have to make sure they know where their door is, and there's all this weird stuff there, and there's like scary things there. It's like a horror fantasy, like so strange, so good. Like there's such like a chase to it, and like mystery and small town and so many feelings. I definitely think everyone should read it. I'm going to pick up more Kingfisher because that was good and I enjoyed it. I had fun. Yeah. Last, but also last, is A Gift for a Ghost by Borja Gonzalez. This one, it kind of follows both this person in the past and it's a graphic novel. I read this at the beginning of the month and I read it so fast, and it was just kind of like one of those pretty graphic novels. It's kind of almost present day, more like in the 90s, as compared to like the other side is probably in like the 1700s or something. They all have like gowns on and stuff. It's beautifully done, and there's this ghost involved in both sides. I can't remember. See, I think, oh yeah. Well, that's just a spoiler then. But anyways, there's a ghost involved, and it's kind of like just a very mellow ride that's beautiful. That's how I will explain this graphic novel. It's a mellow ride that's beautiful. And that is it. And I gave it like 3 or 4 stars. Probably 3 stars, because I was like, meh, meh, meh. And I never write these things down to tell you. I feel like I only told you like half of my ratings, maybe. Anyways, yes. So I read 8 things. I loved them, and I hated them, and I felt very mediocre about them, but everything was either strong or nothing, or just in between, as everything is. Everything is something or nothing. And that is my existentialist theory of the night. Thank you. Please subscribe if you have not. I hope you enjoyed my May reads. May I be back next month to tell you about my other reads? I mean, I'll be back next week. Okay.